She plotted my end, but I struck first. Now she's facing the consequences in prison. What if the moment you thought was your triumph turned into a trap that exposed your darkest secrets? Ethan Carter's pulse raced as he returns from a staged Seattle business trip, only to learn of a body in his Los Angeles home, his bodyguard, or something far more sinister. The chilling call from the LAPD sets his nerves on edge, hinting at a plot that's unraveling faster than he can grasp. Had Natalie, his wife, been scheming with her smug trainer lover, Ryan, to steal his life for a $2 million insurance payout? Hidden cameras captured their champagne-fueled betrayal. But now, as he steps into the morgue, Ethan braces for a shocking twist, the air thick with dread. Was he one step ahead? Or had he walked into their deadly plan? The sterile lights flickered, and a sharper truth, sharper than the steel dumbbell rod found at the scene, awaited. Natalie's confident stride into the morgue suggests she believes. She's won, but what will happen when she sees him, alive and watching? Dive into a heart-stopping tale of deception, surveillance, and cold revenge, where every shadow hides a motive, and the line between victim and prey blurs in a game of life or death stakes. The call came at 2:41 p.m. on a Thursday. I remember the exact time because I just walked into my apartment after a week-long business trip to Seattle. My phone buzzed and I answered, expecting maybe my assistant or a delivery. Instead, it was Officer Martinez from the local precinct. "Mr. Carter, this is the LAPD. There's been an incident at your residence. We need you to come down to the morgue to identify a body." I froze for a second. I couldn't breathe. "Whose body?" I asked, though my voice barely left my throat. "We believe it may be your bodyguard, Mr. Michael Reed. The individual was found inside your home, Michael. I hadn't seen him since before I left." My stomach sank. Something didn't feel right, but I nodded, muttered a shaky, "I'm coming," and hung up. When I pulled into the lot behind the medical examiner's office, the clouds were thick and low, like the sky itself was holding its breath. I walked in, signed a clipboard, and was led down a sterile hallway. The metallic scent of antiseptic burned my nostrils. They brought me into the cold room. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly above as the attendant pulled back the sheet. It wasn't Michael. It was him, Ryan Brooks. Tall, cocky, with that smug smirk he always wore, like he owned every room he walked into. I knew him. Everyone did. He was my wife's personal trainer. I'd shaken that man's hand, bought him a watch last Christmas. He'd had the audacity to toast my birthday in my own home. But now his lifeless body lay stiff on a metal slab, eyes wide open in frozen horror, and something inserted into him. Something long, cold, steel. A dumbbell bar, not just placed, shoved. I didn't speak. I just stared. I could already picture her expression when she walked in and saw it wasn't me lying there. And oh, I prayed they'd let me see her reaction. They led me into an interview room. The officers were quiet, respectful. They asked questions. I gave minimal answers. I was calm. Too calm, maybe. See, this wasn't a shock. Not entirely. I had known. I knew what she was planning. 2 weeks earlier, I'd found the first clue. It was a message on her laptop. She forgot to log out of her iCloud, and I saw it. A text to someone saved under Jenny Hair. But the convo was way too dirty for any hairstylist. "He's flying out Monday. Meet me Tuesday. I'll leave the back door open. He trusts you. We'll make it look like a robbery gone wrong. Then you're all mine, baby. Kiss mark." I stared at the screen for 10 minutes, my heart thudding so loud I couldn't hear my own thoughts. I scrolled further. Dozens of pictures. My wife, Natalie, in lingerie in the kitchen on our bed. Her smirking. Him grinning. My face in one of them taped to the mirror like some sick joke. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I copied every message, every image, every filthy plan onto a USB stick and put it in the safe under my office desk, and then I waited. Before I left for Seattle, I set up the cameras, not the cheap ones you buy at Best Buy. I called in a favor from a guy I met in Miami. Surveillance grade, undetectable, motion activated, infrared, every room, every angle, and I left Michael behind. My trip wasn't real. I stayed in a hotel nearby and watched. And what I saw, they didn't just meet up. They celebrated. They toasted with champagne. She danced in her silk robe to some 90s R&B like it was her coronation night. And then he arrived. Mr. Ryan Brooks. They laughed, they touched, they disappeared into my bedroom. 2 hours later, they were passed out, bodies tangled like a pile of dirty laundry. That's when I entered. They don't know it yet. At the morgue, at the station, on the news, they still think I wasn't there, that I returned too late. They don't know I saw her whisper to him drunk and half naked. He's so dumb. He'll never know. By next month, he's gone. You get the insurance. I get the house. Win-win. They don't know what I did after that. What I slid into my duffel bag. What I whispered into Ryan's ear before he took his last breath. What message? I left scrawled on the bathroom mirror with Natalie's favorite lipstick. But she would very soon, because when she walks in to claim my absence, thinking she's finally free, she'll see him. And that will be the beginning of my revenge. She walked into the morgue like she was stepping onto a red carpet. Hair perfect, designer sunglasses, no tears, no panic, just a carefully rehearsed look of grief. I watched through the one-way glass. She had no idea I was alive, no idea I was standing just 10 feet away, arms crossed, watching the performance of her life. "Ma'am," the officer said gently, "we need you to confirm the identity." Natalie slowly took off her sunglasses, paused dramatically, and looked at the sheet being pulled back. Her reaction, priceless. First, confusion, then disbelief, then panic. Her eyes darted to the cop. "Wait, that's not him. Are you saying this is not your husband, Mrs. Carter?" She stared in silence, her voice caught in her throat. "No," she finally said. That's my personal trainer, Ryan Brooks." A slow, small nod. The officer glanced at his clipboard, pretending to write something, but I could see the smirk he was holding back. He knew. We all knew. The moment was golden, and then came the best part. "Mrs. Carter," the detective said, folding his arms, "we have a few more questions about how Mr. Brooks ended up dead in your home. Perhaps you can explain why your husband's life insurance policy was recently changed, naming you as the sole beneficiary for a payout of $2.5 million. Natalie's face turned from pale to white. Her lips trembled. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. They escorted her into an interrogation room, and that's when I stepped out from behind the glass. Her eyes met mine as I walked past the hallway window. For a split second, she thought she was seeing a ghost, but I smiled just a little, enough to send a chill down her spine. Let me take you back for a second. Before the cops, before the body, the night I entered the house, she and Ryan were already asleep. Half a bottle of champagne spilled on the cream rug. Their clothes, my wife's red dress, his jeans scattered like broken promises on the floor. I could have killed them both right there, but I wasn't going to give her the satisfaction of a messy ending. No, I wanted her to suffer, to feel every ounce of betrayal I had felt for the last 6 months. So I waited in the shadows, watched, thought, and then Ryan woke up. He stumbled into the kitchen, half naked, still drunk. He didn't see me at first. I grabbed a kitchen knife just in case, but I didn't need it. I just said one word. "Boo." He turned. His face dropped. "Ethan, what the?" But he didn't get to finish. I slammed the drawer shut. "Sit down," I ordered, "or I swear to God you'll leave this world with a knife in your spine and your pants around your ankles." He sat, and I laid it all out. Every message, every photo, every plan they'd cooked up like a twisted soap opera. "I know everything, Ryan. The fake robbery, the insurance, her little dream vacation once I was gone. You thought you were clever." He didn't speak, just stared, sweating. I opened my bag, took out the dumbbell rod, set it on the table. You want to play games in my house with my wife in my bed? His hands trembled. Listen, man, it was her idea. Doesn't matter, I said. You still played along. Now play your final role. His scream never made it out of the house. The cameras got it all. And the lipstick message I left, just 3 words. I was here because I wanted her to know this wasn't just karma. This was me. She sat across from Detective Alvarez, fidgeting with her bracelet like that was going to save her. Her perfectly painted nails tapped against the metal table in a rhythm that screamed guilt. I watched from the other side of the glass again, arms folded, breathing slow. She looked like she was about to puke, but still tried to keep that fake innocence on her face. Classic Natalie, lying until the last breath. So let me get this straight. Alvarez said, calm but direct. Your husband was supposed to be out of town and your lover ends up murdered in your house on your bed. No less. And you just happened to be at a spa across town when it happened. Natalie smirked. Coincidences happen, Detective. Alvarez leaned forward. You're wearing the same perfume he was smothered with. That wiped the smile off her face. Then he dropped the bomb. We have footage. Natalie, dozens of hours. Inside the house, motion activated. High resolution. Want to know the best part? She didn't answer. Alvarez clicked a remote. A flat screen came to life behind him. And there she was, on camera, 2 nights before Ryan's death, straddling him on my couch, whispering, by next week, he's gone. And we'll be rich, baby. Her mouth opened, then closed like a fish yanked out of water. No words, just panic. She turned red, then pale, then green. Care to explain that? Alvarez asked. I was drunk, she whispered. I didn't mean it. We were role-playing. Oh, role-playing. Planning your husband's murder is just a little spicy fantasy. She was cracking hard. I didn't do anything, she snapped, slamming her hands on the table. He's alive, isn't he? Bingo. Alvarez raised an eyebrow. Excuse me. I assumed he made it out of town safely. I meant if something had happened, I would have. He interrupted, but nobody said Ethan was dead. Mrs. Carter, silence. Her mouth opened again. Nothing came out. You knew he wasn't the one on that table. She looked around like she was trying to find the exit signs with her eyes. I want a lawyer. Alvarez smiled. I think that's a good idea. That same day, I watched her get dragged out of the room in cuffs, still fighting, still playing the victim. I'm innocent, she screamed. Ethan set me up. That psycho framed me. I didn't kill Ryan. Technically, she didn't. But she was just as guilty of planning it, of celebrating. The idea of me being gone, of turning our marriage into a business transaction with a payout. Back in the squad room, Alvarez turned to me and said, she's going to fry. Maybe not for murder, but conspiracy, attempted insurance fraud, obstruction. She's done. I didn't answer, just nodded slowly, still numb. The weight of everything wasn't just hitting her. It was crushing me too. And I hadn't even started grieving yet. Not for a death, but for a decade of love that turned out to be a damn lie. I stepped outside into the cold air, finally letting myself feel something, and it came like a flood. All the nights I'd worked late to build a future for us. All the sacrifices, the anniversaries, the times I ignored the way she'd pull away when I tried to hold her hand. The way she'd flinch when I said, I love you. I thought I was crazy. Turns out I was just married to a lunatic. That night, I went back home alone. Our house looked different now, like a crime scene, and a memory had collided. The champagne bottle was still there, her heels under the coffee table. The bedroom smelled like lavender and betrayal. I sat on the edge of the bed where she betrayed me with another man, and I didn't cry. I laughed, a dry, broken, bitter laugh that echoed through the silence, because she thought she'd buried me, but I'd been one step ahead. By the time her lawyer arrived, it was already too late. The footage, the texts, the insurance changes, the lipstick-written message on the mirror, the timeline, the motive. It was all wrapped in a perfect little box, tied with a ribbon of her own stupidity. But the part that twisted the knife deeper, she still thought she could talk her way out of it. That evening, I got a call from her lawyer. Said Natalie wanted to speak to me directly. Off the record, claimed she was confused, manipulated, scared. She wanted to clear the air, woman to man. I almost declined. But something inside me, it wasn't love, and it definitely wasn't curiosity, said, go. Maybe it was closure. Maybe it was the urge to watch her squirm in real time. So, I showed up. She was in holding, still wearing her designer coat. Hair, a mess now. Mascara dried at the corners of her eyes. She looked me dead in the eyes as I sat across from her behind the glass wall. Picked up the phone. I did too. And the first thing she said, "You don't understand what he meant to me." Not, "I'm sorry." Not, "I made a mistake." Not, "I never meant to hurt you." Just that. I stared at her, letting the silence choke her. He listened, she continued, her voice brittle. "You were always working, always distracted. Ryan made me feel seen. He made me feel wanted." "And what?" I finally said, my tone like ice. "That gave you the right to plan my funeral?" She didn't flinch. "It wasn't supposed to happen like that. We were just going to scare you, shake you up, force you to leave. You changed my insurance policy. That's not scaring me. That's signing my death warrant." Her mouth twisted. He was the one who wanted the money, not me. He pressured me. Threatened to tell you everything if I didn't go along. "You could have walked away, Natalie. You could have filed for divorce. Instead, you chose murder." Now she looked like she was actually feeling something. Her lips trembled. Her eyes watered, not with guilt, but with fear, real fear. "Ethan," she whispered, "they're going to ruin my life." I leaned in closer, our eyes locked through the thick glass. "No, Natalie," I said. "You ruined your life. I just caught it on camera." Then I hung up the phone and walked out without looking back. The trial came fast. Turns out, when you've got two people who conspire to kill a man and one of them ends up dead, the justice system doesn't like to wait. The media ate it up. Cheating wife's murder plot goes horribly wrong. Headlines blared. Her smug photos from Instagram were plastered next to the grainy screenshots of her in my living room wrapped around her lover, whispering about my inevitable accident. Even her friends turned. One of them apparently had heard her bragging about the plan a week before it went down. Said it like a joke, but in court under oath, it sounded a hell of a lot more serious. Her voice cracked as she testified. She said, "If he dies in that hotel fire, I swear I won't cry. I'll dance." It all painted a picture that no defense attorney could clean up. Premeditated, cold, calculated. She was done. Sentenced to 25 years without parole, fraud, conspiracy, tampering with evidence. They even tacked on desecration of a corpse for what she let Ryan rot through in the aftermath. When the gavel slammed down, I didn't cheer, didn't cry. I just breathed deeply. For the first time in months, maybe years, I felt like I could finally exhale. She was behind bars, and I was free. But the damage, the scars, they were just beginning to show. You'd think that after all of that, after seeing her arrested, after watching the trial unfold, after hearing the sentence, there'd be a sense of peace. Like the chapter had closed, like the nightmare was over. But no one tells you that betrayal doesn't end when the handcuffs click. It echoes. Every room in my house felt haunted, not by ghosts, but by memories twisted into lies. The bathroom mirror still fogged up when I showered, revealing faint outlines of lipstick smudges I couldn't fully clean. The bed felt colder than usual, though I was the only one in it now. I found one of her earrings under the dresser the other night. I threw it in the trash and took the trash out 10 minutes later, like it might crawl back in. The thing about being cheated on, especially like that, isn't just the broken trust. It's the sheer audacity of it. The planning, the acting, every fake I love you, every forced smile, every intimate night where I thought we were connecting. She was probably thinking about him, or worse, thinking about the plan. Sometimes I'd wake up at 3 a.m. drenched in sweat, the sound of Ryan's final breath echoing in my ears like I was still in the room. I didn't kill him. I never laid a finger on him, but I watched him crumble under the weight of his own cowardice. And in a way, maybe I wanted him to. No, scratch that. I didn't want him to. I started therapy. At first, just once a week, then twice. I couldn't tell anyone the full truth. Not about the cameras, not about the message, not about what I whispered to Ryan when he begged me to let him leave. Leave. You already did that when you stepped into my bed with my wife. I didn't kill him, but I didn't stop what happened either. The therapist asked me if I still had feelings for her. What a joke. I didn't love Natalie anymore. I didn't even hate her. What I felt for her didn't have a name. It was deeper than hate. It was like someone had injected poison into the roots of every memory we ever made. And now, the entire tree was rotten. But still, I kept remembering things I didn't want to, like our trip to California, how she laughed when I tried to pronounce, or the time we danced barefoot in the kitchen after a thunderstorm knocked out the power, or the night she cried in my arms when her dad died. Were those moments real? Or were they rehearsals? After a few weeks, the texts started coming in, not from her. Of course, she was too busy trying to get her sentence appealed from people we used to know, friends, colleagues, people who said things like, "I never liked her, man," or, "If you ever need anything, I'm here." Funny how they all kept quiet while she paraded around like a queen. Where were they when I was drowning? Even Natalie's mother called me, said she didn't raise a daughter like that, said she was ashamed that if she could, she'd swap places with me just to erase the pain. I told her thank you. I didn't mean it, because deep down I knew her mum knew something. Maybe not the whole murder plot, but the cheating, the manipulation. Natalie didn't become that vile on her own. That kind of rot starts somewhere. There was one moment that broke me completely. I found an old voicemail. It was dated 5 months before I found the texts. Natalie's voice was cheerful, playful. "Hey babe, just wanted to say I miss you. I know work's been tough, but I can't wait to have you all to myself tonight. I bought that wine you like, and that black thing you like even more." She laughed at the end, and it wasn't until I played it a second time that I realized. That voicemail was left the same day Ryan texted her. "Can't wait to taste you again tonight. Hope he's working late." I had been the setup, the excuse, the cover, and she had laughed about it. That laugh, it haunted me more than the murder. 2 months after the trial, I started cleaning out the attic. Not because I wanted to, but because every corner of the house was screaming her name and I needed to suffocate it. The attic had become the final place untouched, full of wedding boxes, vacation souvenirs, and the photos I never had the heart to take down. I opened a dusty bin labeled Honeymoon Santa Barbara. Inside were seashell necklaces, her bikini top, a black one, ironically, and a folded note tucked between 2 brochures. It wasn't addressed to me. It was folded 3 times with Ryan's name scribbled in her handwriting. "You make me feel alive in ways Ethan never could. Sometimes I pretend I'm sick just to stay home and imagine you. Don't worry, he has no clue. He's so gullible. It's cute. I'm falling and I'm not stopping. Let's make a real plan." My hands clenched so hard the paper crumpled into a ball. I couldn't breathe. Not because of the betrayal, I already knew that, but because this was months before I ever saw the first text. She'd been cheating for over a year, maybe 2. How long had I been living with a stranger, and how the hell did I not notice? That night, I didn't sleep. I sat in the living room, lights off, whiskey in hand, staring at the wedding portrait above the fireplace. Her smile was fake. I could see it now, like she knew something I didn't, like the whole marriage was her idea of a twisted joke. I picked up the remote and played the camera footage again. I knew it by heart. but I kept watching it over and over. Her voice, her laugh, her promises to Ryan that I'd be gone soon. And then the moment that haunted me most. The night she looked right into the camera she didn't know was there and said, "He deserves this." That line, it didn't just hurt. It rewrote history. It took every fight we ever had, every misunderstanding, every silence, and turned it into something sinister. I tried to date again. Just once, a friend set me up with someone named Sarah. She was sweet, funny, sharp. We met at a bar, shared a few drinks, talked about dogs and food and weird childhood injuries. But then she touched my hand, just a gentle brush, something normal, casual, and my chest tightened. I saw Natalie's face, heard her moan Ryan's name, felt the gut punch all over again. I excused myself, went to the bathroom, splashed cold water on my face until it felt like I was drowning. When I came back, I told Sarah I had an emergency and left. She texted the next day. I never responded. Therapy wasn't helping anymore. Talking didn't erase the images. I'd close my eyes and see her legs wrapped around him, whispering plans to end my life like it was pillow talk. I'd hear her voice in random songs, smell her perfume on strangers. Every little thing was a knife. I stopped going after that. The therapist said, "Healing takes time." Time felt like a punishment. One afternoon, I got a letter handwritten, no return address. Inside was a single photograph. Natalie in prison scrubs. No makeup, hair tied back, sitting on a bench, handcuffed, looking directly at the camera like she was still in control on the back in perfect cursive. "You'll never forget me." That's the real prison, isn't it? I burned the photo and then I burned the wedding album, the dress, the cards, everything. But her voice still echoed in my mind. "You'll never forget me." And the worst part, she was right. Burning everything helped, for about an hour. The fire pit in the backyard roared like it understood. One by one, I dropped the memories into it. The anniversary card she gave me last year that said, "Forever yours." The champagne cork from our engagement. The note she slipped into my coat pocket before my first big business meeting. "You've already won my love." All lies. The album was last. Our wedding photos. Her fake smile. My real one. The moment that hurt most wasn't burning her. It was burning the version of me that believed in her. That hopeful, blind, loyal fool. That man who thought fidelity came naturally. That man who thought she'd never do that to me. He died long before Ryan did. A week later, I got a call from Detective Alvarez. "I thought you'd want to know," he said. "She's trying to cut a deal." Of course she was. "She's flipping on someone higher." He added. That stopped me. "Higher?" I asked. "What? Like a third person involved?" Alvarez sighed. "Looks like your wife's plot wasn't entirely hers." The paperwork on the insurance was pushed through with help from a broker at the agency, someone she'd been close with. I nearly dropped the phone. Close with how? Alvarez hesitated. Same kind of close she had with Ryan. I clenched my teeth. Name? Nathan Wells. Ring a bell? It did. He sold us the policy, attended our housewarming. I'd grilled steaks with him on the patio. His kid played with our dog. I didn't say anything, Alvarez continued. She's claiming he helped alter the beneficiary information and expedited the processing in case anything happened to you. She's offering testimony in exchange for reduced time. I hung up. The rage I thought I'd burned out came back like a damn tsunami. 3 men, 3, all of them smiling in my face, sitting at my table, eating my food, one of them in my bed, one in my policy papers, and all 3 inside my wife. She hadn't just cheated, she'd built a damn network. It wasn't a marriage, it was a shell corporation of betrayal. I didn't go to the police station. Instead, I drove to Nathan's office. I waited in the parking lot across the street. Watched him walk out in his navy suit, talking on his phone, like nothing had happened. Like he didn't try to help orchestrate my disappearance for a paycheck and a piece of tail. My hands trembled. On the wheel, my foot hovered over the gas pedal. For 5 full minutes, I fantasized about flooring it. But I didn't. Not because I'm noble, because I knew revenge already belonged to the slow hand of truth. And watching people like them fall apart slowly, that's better than blood. 3 days later, Alvarez called again. They took Nathan in this morning. Natalie's deal is off the table. She broke terms by hiding other relationships connected to the plot. The DA's pissed. I chuckled. She thought she could outsmart the system. She always thinks that. He replied, "She's asking to talk to you again." "No. You sure?" "Yeah. Let her rot." That night I finally slept 8 full hours. No nightmares, no sweating. I woke up just after sunrise, went outside, and stood barefoot on the dewy grass. The house was silent. But this time, it felt like peace, not loneliness. I made coffee, sat on the back porch, and for once, I didn't think of her. I thought of me. The man who survived. The man who walked through hell and came back holding the match. It took me nearly 6 months to stop looking over my shoulder. Not because I was afraid she'd come back. Prison bars have a way of keeping demons caged, but because betrayal leaves a bruise you can't see. It flares up in quiet moments like when a woman laughs a little too sweetly, or when a door creaks open late at night. I still lock the bedroom door out of habit. Still double-check who's behind me at the grocery store. Still hesitate before letting someone in, emotionally or physically, because when someone plots to erase you, it rewires your entire nervous system. And yet something strange happened after all the chaos settled. I started to feel alive again. Not in some cliché Phoenix Rising Instagram inspirational way, but in a raw, broken, painfully real way. Like I could finally feel my skin again, even if it still stung. I started running in the mornings, listening to music I hadn't touched in years, songs she didn't like, songs that made me feel something. I went to a dive bar one Friday and sang terrible karaoke. People laughed, and for once, not at me. I was becoming a man again. Not her husband, not her victim, not the guy whose wife tried to murder him. Just me. One afternoon, I got a message, request on social media. I don't check those much anymore, but this one caught my eye. "Hi, my name's Emily. I was Ryan's ex before he started seeing your wife. I just wanted to say I'm sorry." Attached was a photo of her and Ryan taken, maybe a year before he died. He looked younger, softer, not the arrogant man I'd seen in my security footage. I messaged back, "You don't owe me anything." She replied, "Maybe not, but I know what it feels like to love someone and find out they were capable of things you couldn't even imagine. He cheated on me with 3 different women. I thought it was just me. I didn't know he could go that far." I sat with her words for a long time. It hit me then. Natalie wasn't a unique monster. She was part of a type, a breed. People who wear love like a costume, who smile while measuring your coffin, who use words like forever the way salesmen use limited time offer. And for people like that, love isn't a feeling, it's a tool. I thought about all the red flags I ignored, the nights she came home too tired, the passwords she changed without telling me, the way she flinched when I mentioned trust. I chalked it up to stress, to hormones, to growing pains. But deep down, I knew. I just didn't want to see it. Because the truth, sometimes we choose blindness. Because seeing clearly hurts more than pretending. Now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see a victim anymore. I see a survivor. A man who walked into his own funeral, stood beside the body, and lived. A man who watched betrayal unfold not just behind his back, but right in front of his face, and used it as fuel to rise. A man who was supposed to be buried and instead built a fire. If you're reading this and you're in love, truly, deeply hold it with both hands, but never forget to open your eyes. Love is not blind. Love shouldn't be blind. If someone starts locking their phone, if they flinch at questions, if your gut screams but your heart whispers no, listen to the scream. Because if I had, Ryan would still be alive, Natalie would still be free, and I'd still be a fool. But now, I'm wide awake, and I never close my. Betrayal doesn't just wound, It rewires your soul, turning trust into a battlefield where every step risks ruin. Ethan Carter's harrowing escape from Natalie's murderous plot, her scheme, with Ryan to claim a $2.5 million insurance payout, unveils a chilling truth. Love can mask a predator's intent. Natalie's calculated affair, captured on hidden cameras, wasn't just infidelity. It was a declaration of war on Ethan's existence. Yet, his survival, forged through vigilance and cold precision, teaches us that resilience is born in the ashes of deception. The lesson is searing. Never ignore the whispers of your instincts. Ethan's discovery of incriminating texts and his decision to act, installing surveillance, outsmarting their plan, saved his life. For those navigating love's treacherous waters, heed this. Trust is precious, but blind trust is perilous. Watch for locked phones, evasive glances, or a partner's flinch at honest questions. Forgiveness may come, but it's not owed. It's a gift you grant yourself to reclaim peace. Ethan's journey, from burning wedding photos to standing firm, as Natalie faced 25 years in prison, proves that betrayal's scars need not define you. They can fuel rebirth. Build a life where truth is your foundation, and seek those who honor your worth. To the betrayed, your pain is not your prison. Rise, listen to your gut, and let the fire of survival light your path to a future untainted by lies.